Hey, baby! That's how we're opening it up with Mick Mac in our very first comment. I'm according to Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion Pius Ina La Lobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. And UFC 281 is upon us. And this is wild because this is literally, I mean, we were kind of talking off air, but Israel Adesanya, a countryman, right? You know, like that Nigerian stronghold that has taken the UFC, right?
Indeed.
Between Usman and Usman and Adesanya being the champions, but there's so many other Nigerian talent. I want to say that Voodoo, you blaze the trail,
Amen.
and carried the flag when a lot of people weren't, or so. Man, I really want to. I really want your takes on the top fight, but we got a hell of a lot of fights. So I guess without further ado, I mean, Voodoo, how you been?
I've been great. I've been great. Lots of festivities. Um, uh, my oldest just moved on, beating Southgate today. They're moving on in their quest for the CIF championship. I guess they move into the semifinals or something like that. So that's that. Then I have my twins who are gonna be playing at SoFi tomorrow. Uh, in the Super Bowl. So they made it. They made it to the Super Bowl, and it's fantastic.
Holy moly, holy moly. Playing at SoFi Stadium.
SoFi.
Man, that's again, the dream of a parent, it should be for every generation that, be a little bit better than the last. But my
Mm.
goodness, you've accomplished great things at both the cage as well as the gridiron. And to see your twins, I mean, shout out first off, one going for CIF and then the twins playing at SoFi.
Yeah,
Congratulations in the Lobo boys, right?
yeah. It's been a football affair, man. Football, football, football for quite some time now. And right before that, it was track and field for an extended period of time. And it's time for a rest after this is all over with.
I mean, it sounds like it, And the good brother Shaman Steve, he's saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. Congrats, Granada Hills,
That's right.
California." There you go. And Nas did get in the end zone. Carson
Yep,
was
yep,
upset.
yep, yep, yep. Yeah, upset on Carson. Yo, that's crazy. I think it was San Pedro that beat Carson, right, Shaman Steve? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe they play San Pedro. So Carson and San Pedro are powerhouses, you know what I mean,
Okay,
in CIF. So uh
they might have a
Carson
large
Carson got beat.
that location might have a large contingent of Pacific Islanders. I tell you,
Definitely. San
yeah,
Pedro for sure.
Oh, 100%. I remember, being at Inglewood and whatever, and then seeing like any one of the Torrances or any one of the
Yeah.
Hawthorne, like Highthorn or Losinger or whatever. And we thought our, few like blacks, Latinos, and, the couple, not just me, there were other Polynesians and Melanesians at Inglewood High, but we'd look over at the dang, the south borders of us, right? Into the Hawthorns and Lennox, and we'd be like, those, wow, they're all eating
Yeah.
palasami. They're eating all of the roasted pig that came out the ground, and these are just Brock Lesnar looking mother truckers, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
goes down, man. It goes
yeah,
down.
yeah. So that's, I mean,
Oh, okay. It was Norbar, not San Pedro. It was no
okay.
okay. Yeah, Norbar's doing their thing, man. Shout outs to Norbar.
Shout
Let's
out to
go.
him. Oh yes, and the Super Samoan Mark Hunt won
That's
in his
right. That's right.
professional boxing debut. So shout out. I mean, with a blistering KO of a
Yeah,
tenured
yeah.
boxing veteran. So shout out
Hey,
to the Super Samoan.
how old is he, bro? Is he like
He's
almost?
like, he's got to be 50, like closing in on 50.
It seems
Like,
he might be over
let
50, man.
me
Still
let
doing
me
it.
let me see. Mark Hunt.
It might be like 56 or 57.
I don't think he's that old. 48.
40. Okay,
48.
okay, okay.
It's just he
All right.
dyes his hair. He dyes his
He's
hair.
still He's still putting it on them though, man. That's
Yeah, man.
crazy.
So hell yes. Hopefully we can get somebody, like a girthier YouTube star, and he can get, on the undercard of what of it,
Hey,
one of the Paul brothers, something or others.
speaking of YouTube card and Paul brothers, the legendary Andrew Tate might be coming back to face off against that Jake Paul kid.
Yeah, man.
I think that'll sell. That'll sell.
Andrew Tate's got some heat on him, man. That's
That
man.
people will want to see. All
Oh,
those who want to see
100%.
him get his face knocked off. All those who want to see Jake get his face knocked off. It's
Hmm.
gonna work out in the end.
Yeah,
When you look at ticket sales or pay
yeah,
per view orders or whatever.
absolutely. And number of impressions that the social media gets. So, I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
more power to all of them. You've got a finite window of opportunity in terms of combat sports. And the glory that you can attain in it. And if you have a Anderson Silva like career, or what is it, uh, homeboy executioner, uh God, why am I blanking on his name? He went away to prison and then he comes back.
Oh, Bernard
Bernard
Hopkins.
Hopkins, B Hop. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Like you're lucky if you get one of them careers, and
hmm
just legendary. So shout out to all of
Champion at
them.
50. He was a
Yeah, man.
champion at 50. That's crazy.
Foreman.
Unheard of.
Foreman
Yeah,
back in the
Foreman as
day.
well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if you get one of those runs and you get blessed with good genes, man. Yes, and hard work and
Definitely.
dedication.
That's right.
You can line your
Mhm.
pockets with the green and pave your way in gold. So more
That's right.
power to all you good good men and women of the fight scene. But speaking of people who are on the trajectory of charting a legendary path all themselves, we start off with the opening card on UFC 250 281. I'm dyslexic when it comes to numbers, unfortunately, folks. But we have Carlos Ulberg, 6-1, hailing from Australia, going against Nikolai Nikaramirianu. Yeah, I got
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
he's 13-1. Is Let's see. He's training at a Extreme Couture. He's on a how many fight losing streak? I mean, winning streak. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He he hasn't
Or
lost. Yeah, since UFC on ESPN Plus 5, and that was 2019. But since then, he's racked up 4 continuous wins over Alaska Kamer, Hurricane Ike Villanueva,
mm,
Kennedy Nunchukwu,
mm,
Ihor Portia, Porteria. There you go. And
mm-hmm.
he's facing Carlos Ulberg. Now let's go float over to Carlos Ulberg's his record here, because he is 6-1. The
Izzy's
black
boy.
Yeah, Black Jag, hailing from City Kickboxing, right? And that's one thing when you get an Israel Adesanya card, you know that the undercard is going to be filled with a lot of City Kickboxing stalwarts. And
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Izzy for hooking that up, but also the guys at City Kickboxing, knowing the opportunity that presents itself, right? Your
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
teammate is headlining card, you throw your hat in the ring. So
That's
shout out
right.
to all of those, and a shout out to Eugene Behrman and the rest of the crew being able to get all these guys ready at the same time. That's got to be a tedious assignment, but they do it well. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of Olberg, 2 fight winning streak, and that is against Fabio Chenrant and Tafan Nunchukwi, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he
Mm-hmm.
actually KOs Tafan, so that's a crazy one. So Olberg versus Niku.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, Voodoo?
Um, Carlos Ulberg is a decent fighter, but I believe in the game of mixed martial arts, he's very young. Uh, I'm going Nikolai N- N- Ninja Ninja Ryu. I'm going with that dude.
Okay.
I think that dude's gonna actually stop him by the second
Ooh.
round. Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it. Okay. I mean,
he's gonna need some kind of flash knockout to beat Nikolai.
yeah, 100%. But it seems like he's going to be up to task. So,
Mhm.
we shall see come Saturday night. I love it. And McMack also says, what about the Aussie who got the world title after 30 years?
And what? A world title and what? What is he, a boxer or what is he?
I mean, I want to feel. I mean, in my head, it's God. What's that dude's name? Kickboxer.
Oh, okay, okay, that's what's up.
He's homeboys with Rogan. Jesus Christ. Why
Okay,
am I blanking on his? And as soon as we log off or change the subject, I'm gonna
uh,
remember his bloody name. Ah, God. He's the one who
where?
wanted to do like kickboxing and Muay Thai in a cage to to test the combatants. God, he's been on
Duke
Rogan so many.
Rufus?
No, Aussie.
Oh, right, Ozzy.
Aussie
I don't know.
kickboxer. Jesus, I mean Aussie, and he's like the shit. He's like what's the Dutch
Jeff.
kickboxer, but to Australia. Ramon Deckers. He's like the Ramon Deckers of Australia.
Oh, Deckers.
Yeah, but of Australia.
Isn't
Jesus.
that Deckers dead already?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh,
But like this guy, what Deckers did for Dutch kickboxing, this
oh,
did.
I see.
Yeah,
I see. So he's pretty good.
uh, he's very good. Jesus Christ,
Yeah. Let
fuck.
me see what he looks
My
like.
my Google machine is all fucked, and I and
It's
I
all good.
also I also put in uh Aussie kickboxer, so my
Yeah.
fucking Twitter fingers are not warmed up tonight apparently. And oh, it's Jeff French. Duh, there you go, Jeff French. Shout out to
Okay.
Jeff French. And so I was wrong in what I was thinking. So that happens a lot. It happens a lot. And Fight Life Nation, the good brother there, said, "Good evening, guys. I'm pumped for this event.
Yeah, me
A
too.
deep main card, and it's pretty fun stack card overall, 100%." And but yes, Jeff French was a boxing super
Featherweight.
featherweight. Yes, Jeff French. Look at Mick Mac throwing down the
31
gauntlet of
years after a
knowledge.
controversial
Jeff,
draw.
yeah, wins the super featherweight world title after 31 years after a controversial draw with Azuma Nelson. And fuck Azuma Nelson,
I
holy
remember
shit.
him.
Yeah, buddy. I got
Mm-hmm,
goosebumps. Fucking
mm-hmm,
Mick Mac. Thank you for
mm-hmm.
that surge of energy. I that those are names, and French doesn't get his credit, like
Mm.
he's amazing. I hopefully in Australia he's as well regarded as he should be, but
Yeah,
hopefully that transcends the world over. You
yeah.
get is after this, go ahead and check you out on YouTube, a Jeff French highlight reel. There's a couple documentaries on him. Just is truly inspirational guy. Shout out to Jeff French. Hell yes. And copy and paste, baby. Again, not Steve Kaufman here. Got this. But so yeah, that was the first fight of the card. Now we actually go to the second fight of the card, and I should have opened up another tab because I fucked up my tapology by clicking over to see who the Aussie super kickboxer was, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
didn't work out so well. But
You
in the bantamweight division, we
okay?
have Julio. Oh, what were you gonna say?
No, no, no. Go. You got it. You got it. You got it. Keep
Yes.
going.
Oh, it is French, not French. There's light. There's light. There's a ring light in my eye. I'm dyslexic. Thank you for catching that, McMac. Shout out to you. But and fun fact, Jeff Finch cornered Mike Tyson at one point.
Hmm.
Damn! Look at McMac and Fight Life Nation, and again, Fight Life Nation earning his moniker 100%. Just just those little nuggets of information, those deep cuts. Fucking love it.
Wa-
Thank you, gents.
Was
Love
that
it.
before or after prison?
One would have
The
to assume it's one of them Fox. You know,
Mm.
the one coming out of prison, and the Fox fights. What was it, Tom?
No, 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 no. Was it
Was it?
before Tyson went to prison or after?
No, but that's the Fox fights were after prison. You remember?
Oh, okay, okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, because before prison, he's all. I mean, he
It
goes
was
from
clean.
ESPN to fucking pay per view, and everything was a
Yeah,
pay per view up
yeah.
until coming back, and
Good
he
old
had
days.
he had the tattoo and everything like
Tattoo.
that. He was fighting on primetime on
And he had
Fox. I think.
Mao. He had Mao on his side.
Yeah, tattooed. Yeah, yep, 100%. It was after. Yep,
Okay.
the old noggin hasn't failed me
Yeah.
as it did like the previous fight, but I digress. But in the bantamweight division, we have the 18-5 Julio Arce going up against the
Uh-huh.
11-2 Montel Jackson. Uh, let's go with Arce first. 18
Mhm,
and 5, right?
mhm.
Um, his last two fights kind of up and down, right? Because he gets KO'd by Yadong Song, which I
Your dong
love.
song. Your
Yeah,
dong song, kid.
or yes, there you go. Bomba Clocky. We just turned this dude into a Jamaican. I love it. But he gets KO'd by either Song Yadong or Yadong Song. Either
Your
way,
dong song.
it's one of those Zhang Weili or Weili Zhang,
Yeah.
you know. But then actually comes back at UFC 273 earlier this year, April to be exact, and he wins a unanimous decision over Daniel Santos. Right.
Mm,
So let's go with Montel Jackson, which
okay.
that's an amazing name because I'm thinking about Montel Williams and I don't know, Janet Jackson. If they had a
Mm.
love child, it'd be Montel Quick Jackson. But Montel, yeah, that's where my mind is going tonight, folks. But his last two wins over he KO's the good brother Jesse Strader, and shout out to Jesse Strader. My heart goes out
Shout
to that
out.
dude
That's
because
my
he
dude.
was actually training. I don't think it's too I don't think it's too outside of school, but Jesse was actually training Aaron Carter during Aaron Carter's kind of dalliance with the celebrity
Oh, that's
boxing deal.
right.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
just I'm
I
showering love
remember that.
to Jesse. That was a rough one, and the whole Carter family. They've had a history of substance abuse and oh, if you go read into that story, it's amazing that they the one sister who died had a career, and
Mm,
the one brother is a Backstreet Boys, and Aaron Carter beat Shaq and sang about it and everything like that. But like they had a dark ass childhood, those kids in Florida. So, just you know, wishing healing and condolences to the Carter family and
most def.
their fans of the world over. But
Most def.
Jesse Strader gets KO'd by Montel Jackson. Then Montel gets a unanimous decision win over JP Bays, which the only thing that I
Yeah.
could remember about JP is when he was married to Cheyenne and
Yeah.
their debut in the bloody promotion. It was fucking nuts.
Mm,
And again, just a quick synopsis, folks. They literally every commercial break, going in and out of every commercial break, you had the Bazes, the badass fighting couple, and whatever. They're gonna take the world
mm,
by storm. JP gets
mm,
his ass kicked, and Cheyenne has one of the worst fights ever with like
mm,
Montserrat Ruiz.
yeah, right?
She wins, but it was not
Mm.
great. Oh, and again, I mean, kudos to them for fucking stepping into the cage, you know, but Jesus
Hey,
Christ, it
that
was
fight
bad.
was full of headlocks, bro. The whole thing
Yeah,
was headlocks. Like,
yeah,
what's going on here, man? Like, headlock, hip toss, stay there.
yeah.
Headlock, hip toss, stay there. Like, what's all this headlock?
I mean, You know, you're saying that, but I was just watching there's a Netflix documentary which is fucking right up my alley. It's like
Hmm.
one bodybuilder marine
Hmm.
killing another bodybuilder marine. It's a
Oh
three-part
man.
series. It's like Killer Kathy or whatever the fuck. That's what I was. So when you're talking about
Oh.
headlocks, the fucking chick that killed her husband was into like apartment wrestling and shit in
Someone
San
told me
Diego.
about that today. Someone told me about that today.
Oh,
Hey, I
all
think
I
it was
saw was
Andres.
yeah, dude. All I saw was like muscle and killer, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm in. Sorry. Oh, there's something wrong in here. Oh, fuck it. And yes, McMax says the Finch basically trained Tyson in
Okay.
'05. And
Mhm.
Alex Ramirez, a good brother. Happy birthday, Alex Ramirez. Shout out to you. Yeah, it's your birthday. We're so much greater as a world, as a foundation, as a
That's
society
right.
to have you in it
You're a
for another
plus to
year.
humanity.
Hell yes. So shout out to you, Alex Ramirez. Yeah, so salute, sir, salute. So I got, I actually have. I'm gonna go Montel Jackson.
You know, I have no
This
problem picking Arce,
okay,
just simply because I have nothing invested. So I'll go 50-50 with you on this one. I'll
yeah.
go Arce.
I just that whole. I'm sorry, the taste in my mouth that has soured on both of the bays, and I think the Cheyenne is not a bays anymore. She's
No.
Vlismus or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
yeah,
Vlismus.
like I care about them just as much as I care about the Mike Chandler Dustin
Right.
Poirier fight, which is probably fucking not any. I'm hoping for a double KO there. Boom, spoiler alert. But that shit is, you remember in fucking Mortal Kombat, and you're like, I'm gonna get fucking Scorpion so I can go get
Yeah.
over here or
Get
whatever.
over
And
here.
the homeboy
Come
that you're
here.
playing with is picks fucking Scorpion as his own damn self. You're like, motherfucker, we got a mirror match, and that shit is what fucking Mike Chandler and Poirier is to me. But I'll get into that a little bit later. Uh, but we got Mike Trizano versus Sung Woo Choi. Sung Woo
Song
Choi,
Woo.
Sung Woo. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I said
Song Woo.
I was in the hood today and I got some fried chicken. So
That's what's up.
yeah, I mean, I
You
think
feeling
that's
you feeling wooish right now. You
woo.
feeling Song Woo-ish.
Hell yes, hell
Song
yes.
Woo Choi.
Yeah, but you know
Song
who
Woo
is it?
Choi.
But you know who isn't feeling Sung Woo Choi? The Lone Wolf,
Trezano.
Mike Trizano. Absolutely, you got it. We're right here, right here. Um, actually, Trizano is 0-2 in his last two outings, but those were against Hakim Dawodu and
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Almeida. The
Mm.
Dawodu loss was actually a unanimous decision loss, and the Lucas Almeida was a KO. So he's looking to
Go to
rebound
sleep.
because the last time he beat anyone was Ludwig Quine via unanimous decision back in May 2021, right? So he wants to get in the winning side of things. But I mean,
Mm.
it's kind of been an up and down kind of go for him, right? He
Mm.
wins two, loses one, wins one, loses two. So it's
It,
kind of
it
a
it looks like this guy won the Ultimate Fighter house.
he did he?
Uh, I see 3 wins here.
He might
It
have.
doesn't no losses.
I don't think I watched that episode. No disrespect to yeah. So ultimate,
I
you're
didn't see
right.
it either. That's why I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
you're fucking right. This is
Oh,
when was this?
uh,
2008
2018. Yeah, that's a while. It's a while back.
DC and wait.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna jump on the UFC Fight Pass, man. DC versus Stipe as coaches.
That's way back then.
That happened.
Yeah.
The fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking check that out. But
I
yeah,
believe that's what set up the first fight.
Yeah, but I mean, it's weird, right? Because like Truzano, who won an Ultimate Fighter, is kind of unheralded and is fighting third, like literally the UFC, Fight Pass prelims
Mhm.
as an Ultimate Fighter winning with 9-3 record. That's
Mhm.
wild. Which I mean, that kind of shows you the maybe lack thereof of promotion that the UFC has invested in Truzano, but that's just
Hey,
me speculating.
it seems Mr. Truzano is gonna have to break out on his own and build his platform, get vocal on that microphone so you can be noticed. The ones that are vocal on the microphone tend to get noticed. And
Mm.
this is the nature of the business. If he's not doing his thing on that microphone or getting better at it, then the UFC ain't going to hear it. You know what I'm saying? He's just another number. They got
Yeah,
like, what, over 500 fighters on a roster?
600, I believe it is.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go. So,
and if you guys want to, look up, um, I know there's a lot of shit going on with Twitter, but UFC roster watch, it literally fucking tells you when people like in the fucking bio it says outside of Dana White's office, and it'll tell you like minute by minute when somebody gets released or somebody gets signed. So
wow.
UFC roster watch on Twitter. So there's that, and yeah, Alex Ramirez has the same birthday as Micmac. They're
That's what's up.
both of them are not numbers to us; they're family. So
Yeah,
happy 878th birthday, Micmac and Alex
yeah,
Ramirez. You
yes.
don't look a day over 22. I'm
Not
just
at all.
saying, with the wisdom of like an 80-year-old. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Which he says, "You guys rock. Thank you so much." No, thank you, good sir, for being born. We're glad to have you here. And Voodoo has a baby blue Adidas hoodie. Hell yes.
This is actually gray.
Oh,
It's gray. I think it's the computer light that makes it look blue. That baby
hey,
blue looks kind of dope though. I see what you see. It just
yeah,
happens to be gray. Yeah,
I
the
like
the
it.
shadow and the light makes it seem like it's blue, but it's actually gray.
Yeah, man. Hate it how you say Adidas. Wait, is there another way to say Adidas? Now I'm getting fucking self conscious. Is it ad
Adida, Adida,
Adidas?
Adida,
That's just like fucking what's
Adidas.
her name? Soraya, right? Like the former Paige in WWE, they had the
Right,
fighting with my family, whatever. But
right.
she goes to AEW and she's like, it's Soraya, but the way she spells it is Soraya.
Uh huh.
But I don't know which one it fucking is, man. But
Hey
shout
man,
out to her because she got cleared to wrestle Britt Baker for the first
that's
time.
what's up.
Yeah, so you got the MJF versus Moxley deal at the next pay per view, but you got the wrestling
Moxley.
return of Saraya, or Saraya. I fucking don't know, but
I, I,
uh, if
I hear John Moxley is banned from the WWE. Is that true?
I'm that might be CM Punk, but it also could be Moxley.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just float back to I guess his former moniker, Dean Ambrose on the Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that
Hmm.
motherfucker was pissing Stone Cold off. It was like with his fucking I don't know. I don't mind Moxley. Whatever.
Me too.
I don't I don't like him bleeding every match because if you bleed every fucking match, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
So yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like Nike Americans say it's strange, so I think it's like Nick. But I mean
Nikki.
Nike, but
Nikki.
but Nike is an American company. They're based out of Oregon.
Nikki. Prefontaine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Mhm.
fucking Steve Prefontaine, that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, but also, do you know their Nike's relationship to the fucking Wild Wild Country, the fucking cult that happened in the Pacific Northwest?
What? What's the
The
relationship there? I
founder
don't
of
know.
fucking Nike was beefing with these like Eastern worship, like guru worshiping cult that happened in like the late 70s, early 80s, and whatever, and they were beefing over land.
And
And
then
this
how did it end up? End up.
dude, watch Wild Wild Country on
Okay.
Netflix. It shit is
Okay. Wild Wild
wild.
Country.
Like this fucking cult was like almost like the precursor of like um Scientology, where they had their own like banking system and fucking stores, but those damn fucking stores, all they sold was like orange whatever the fucks, you know, because that was the whatever. And the as all cults do, right? The fucking you know, the head dude was sleeping with everybody's wife and all that shit, you know, like driving in Rolls Royces and you know fucking bling. That dude was like, when you think of like a prototypical pimp, that dude was like it. I think like Sanjay Dutt, who's now like managing Jay Lethal and Singh in AEW. When he was in TNA, he was called the player from the Himalaya, and
I
that
think I
dude
remember
from
that name.
that dude from Wild Wild Country was the OG player from the Himalaya. So just
He
saying.
straight robbed Martin Lawrence for that one.
I mean, I mean,
That's
if you're gonna,
Jerome right there.
yeah,
That's one
hell
of
yeah,
Martin's characters, Jerome.
yeah, the fucking security guard, right?
Now Jerome's the pimp from the
Oh yeah,
Himalaya.
yeah, yeah. Okay, right on, right on. Snaggly teeth. I got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. It's all coming. It's Celine Dion as fuck. It's all coming back to me now. Yes. And happy Remembrance Day, by the way. Eric's book is out now. Yes, Eric Bischoff's book, Grateful, is out now. If you go on to the website of his co-author to buy the book, first off, you won't be charged like $300 like Amazon is trying to charge you. But
Damn.
I believe you can still get an autographed copy, or maybe the pre-sale is done with. But I know that if you pre-sold the book from God, I want to say his name is Guy Evans. Guy Evans. I think it's guyevans.com. You can get that book. And the cool thing about Eric Bischoff's new book, right? It picks up from where his Controversy Creates Cash left off. And then let's just say like they're talking about Lex Luger. Well, you can scan a QR code and fucking Lex Luger will fucking talk about whatever the fuck is in the book.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's the first book of its kind to do that. So guyevans.com, I believe it is, and check out the Good Brothers book. Yeah, and you get the autographed copy if you pre-sale. If the pre-sale is still up, Guy Evans and Eric Bischoff will both sign it. So there you go. And lest we forget, never forget.
Never.
And I'll photocopy and sell half price. Don't I mean don't tell nobody. Your secret's safe with me. But yeah, so going back, right? I think we're Trezano and Sungwoo Choi. Take it away, good sir.
I got Wu Choi, man. Wu Choi is a phenomenal striker. Uh, his hand speed is impressive. I see Wu Choi winning this by a split decision. He's gonna land more significant power shots.
I like it. Fuck it. Choi. Shout out to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Shout out to you, Mr. Choi. So we have in the women's 115-pound division, or strawweight, as it's better known, we have Karolina Kovalkiewicz, 13-7, going up against Silvana Gomez Juarez, who is 11-4. Silvana, coming from the UWC promotion down there in Mexico. She trains at an Entram gym, the former gym of the Assassin Baby, Brandon Moreno, right?
That's right.
But
That's right.
but it's kind of been an up and down deal for
hmm
Miss Gomez Juarez, right? Because she enters the UFC and she faces former LFA strawweight champion Lupita Godinez, right? Loses via armbar. That's a tough pill to swallow. Well,
Mhm.
guess what? Line up another LFA champion, the inaugural one, the one that who
Mhm.
actually Lupita beat for the LFA strawweight title, Vanessa Little Monster Demopoulos, and she
Mhm.
beats her the same way that Lupita beat
Armbar.
Silvana.
Mhm.
Armbar, first round.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, that's you
Yeah.
know, but those are the top of the food chain,
Mhm.
theoretically speaking, right? But then she gets her first UFC win back in just literally June of this year, June 11th, which happens to be my mom's birthday.
Mhm.
But she beats Na Liang via KO, first round KO. So now she steps in with a little bit more tenured Karolina Kovacevic, right? Now,
Mhm. Mhm.
in terms of Carolina's stats, we got 13-7, and she's been in there with the who's who. We're talking
Mhm.
about Alexa Grasso, Michelle Watterson, Jessica Andrade, Jessica Penne. Um, but all of those were losing efforts, unfortunately, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But before her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight losing streak, she has a crazy bookend where she beats Philly's Little Bulldog Herring via split decision back in 2018 on the undercard of Habib versus Al Iaquinta. That's when
Mhm.
Habib gets the title, right?
Mhm.
After everybody fucking drops out and whatever, but Habib gets the title, right? And then unfortunately, Carolina loses to Andrade, Watterson, Grasso, Xenon Yan, and Jessica Penne, and then rebounds to beat Felice Herring yet again via rear naked choke. So, and before I mean, the Felice Herring fight, the first one, she beat Jody Escabel, Invicta veteran, and then the former champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's also been in there with Rose Namajunas, who has a win over Rose Namajunas, and then
Yep.
Heather Clark, Randa Marcos. Yeah, so she's been in there with the top of the food chain. Uh,
True.
but has what I want to know have the injuries and all of this onslaught that she's taken over the course of her career, will it lend itself to the advantage of the younger Silvana Gomez Juarez?
Mm.
What say you?
This one, Carolina has been, like you said, has been in there with the cream of the crop. So fighting this Silviana Gomez Juarez won't be a big deal. She just has to watch out for the big shots, rely on experience and technique, and she'll simply win this particular matchup by split decision. No problem. If not unanimous decision. She can win. This Silviana is custom made for Carolina to beat because she's just a little bit more experienced, and that gives her about a half a second head start every exchange that they make. Even though Silvana is the actual faster one in reality, but the experience from Carolina is gonna buy her the time she needs to, if not submit her in the second, finish by unanimous decision.
I like it. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of miles in Carolina, and unfortunately, like not even to say that she's a gatekeeper at this particular juncture of her career. Now, I could be wrong. We've counted a lot of people out, and they've come out way better than before, right?
Right, right.
But yeah, man, it's weird, right? Because she's been in there with the tippy top of the division, but a lot of times she suffered losses,
Hmm.
right?
Five
Um,
in a row.
yeah, but I mean, there was enough equity in her to keep her after that, and then give her a win over Felice Herring. Now, obviously, Felice Herring was coming back from an injury, like a 2 year, almost 2 year sabbatical.
Hmm.
Uh, and I'm not taking anything away from her, but I guess that maybe this is just enough for Silvana to act out maybe A split decision. I don't think it's gonna set the world on fire, but I think a split decision win for Savannah that might work.
Most definitely, most
Yeah,
definitely. We're gonna chalk him up and see
yeah,
how it goes. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And speaking of how it's going, uh, McMax says, "How is the red wave?" I mean, the fucking
Red
ocean
wave.
water is still green as fuck in in Malibu. We don't. I mean, we surf waves here in the California, but it's green because we pollute. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but speaking of fortune, we have the good fortune to see Matt the I know it's steamroller, but I want to say
Mm.
freeloader. But
Mhm.
Matt, the steamroller for Vola, 9-3-1, going against Otman Azitar, right?
Mm.
Who's 13-0. It wasn't Otman the one who got fucking kicked out of the UFC for trying to sneak his homeboy up to the room and Fight Island.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Didn't they give that dude his walking papers
Yeah,
immediately?
and they hired his ass back
Yeah.
because he was like 13-0 or whatever the
Is
fuck.
this the same guy?
I want to believe. I want to
It seems
believe.
it's the same flag, Morocco, something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
yeah.
but this might be a different dude.
Is it?
I think yeah, the other guy you were talking about, I believe he's a lighter weight type dude.
And as
Yeah, this guy is a lightweight too. It could
yeah,
be this guy, man. It could be him.
I
They could
want
have
to
let him
wait.
back in.
I'm looking up the Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Uh, da. Yes, on November. Okay, about between uh, Azatar and Karma Worthy was supposed to happen at 2:49.
Right.
COVID, right? And then on November 21, 2020, it was announced that Azatar was scheduled to fight Matt Frivola on January 20th.
Steamroller.
Right. However, the weigh-ins, it was announced that Azatar withdrew from the bout, and it was announced that Ottman had broken safety protocols, and Dana White released the following statement. He and his team cut their wristbands off and got the people from outside inside. Yes, this is the motherfucker.
They hired him back.
Yes, yes. And again, this is a fight that was supposed to happen on Fight Island. Him
Mm.
and Frivola.
Hmm. Well,
So
what
yeah,
we gonna do it at Madison Square Garden?
I mean, I mean, you know, good,
Yep.
good on
Let's
you,
get it.
Otman.
Let's
You
get it.
figured it out.
Hey,
So
ain't no going against perfection, man. Ottoman Azatar is the guy. You know, I'm going with him.
yeah, man. If that dude can fucking the
Mm.
logistical fucking shit, you're gonna cut your damn wristbands, toss it to some dudes on the street in fucking Abu Dhabi, where you can get like what beheaded for fucking spitting on the ground or whatever. Like
Mm.
that's some crazy shit. So I mean, if you're able to do crazy shit there, you should be able to do some crazy shit to Matt Frivola. So I also will go with Azatar.
No doubt, no
Hell
doubt.
yes. Now we have the 8-1 Andre Petrosky going
Hmm.
against the 18-5 Wellington Turman. Let's look
Hmm.
at the more experienced prodigy. I don't think he's a prodigy at this point. 18-5, he should be here. Like it's like, you know, 50-year-old what is it, new kid on the block. Like, are you really new kids? I don't know. But crazy enough, with all of those fights, Wellington Turman is only 26, so maybe it
Hmm.
still holds up. But he is training out of to Shara MMA and Fitness over
Hmm.
in Connecticut, along
Hmm.
with the co-headliner of Alex Potan Piera. So
Hmm.
let's look at won Wellington Turman. Turman on a 2-fight winning streak, a split decision win over Smiling Sam Alvey, and a armbar finish in the second round over Misha Kirkunov, right?
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool, right? But I mean, prior to that, losing to Bruno Silva and Andrew Sanchez, respectively, both of those TKO losses. So there's that, right? So we're going over to Andrei Petrosky. Petrosky, um, oh, he was on the Ultimate Fighter, I believe. No,
Mm.
yeah, season 29. Yeah, he
Okay.
fought
Okay.
and lost to Pooh Bear Battle, who ended up winning the whole competition. I do
Oh,
remember that.
oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was the return. The return of the Ultimate Fighter after they had a season or two without it. That was the
Right.
return. Season 29 was the first one on ESPN Plus. So there you go. That one I watched extensively. But in terms of Petrosky, a win over, I mean, he lost the finals to Brian Pooh Bear Battle, right? He got ninja choked to hell in the second round, but rebounds and faces and beats by TKO Michael Gilmore, Yao Zhong Hu, and beats him via arm triangle as a Fury Pro Grappling match against Phil Hawes, wins via decision, then comes back to the UFC, faces Nick Maximov, and beats him by Anaconda choke via round one in the first round, and then beats yeah boy Eric Anders via
Yeah, boy.
Anaconda choke at Fury Pro Grappling 5. And that was just in August of this year. So, shit, bro. I think my money is on Petrosky. I like Petrosky
Yeah.
in this one. I
I
say
also,
TKO.
I also, I also like Petrosky.
Uh,
Uh, KO in a second, you say?
yeah, I'm feeling KO second,
Mm.
and I'm not a straight KO. I feel because
TKO.
Yeah, Wellington
TKO.
Turman's
I'm
got
down with that.
yeah,
I'm
and I
down with
could be
that.
wrong. It could go the other way. And this one, I think, depending on how the rest of the card shakes out, this could be a potential. This is my first pick for fight of the night. You
Mm.
know, so
Wellington doesn't have a good job of moving his head off the center line.
no, he doesn't. But it could be a performance of the night. You
Could
know,
be. Could be.
yeah.
Taking a
So,
whole bunch of unnecessary damage.
I mean, you know,
But he's getting
it
paid.
worked
So.
for Chuck Liddell until it didn't. Right.
Hmm.
Right? Yes, and McMack says Australia has around 10,000 beaches. If you want to only visit every beach per day, then it would take you about 29.3 years. Shit, me.
What? That many
Australia
beaches?
is both a country and a continent, and what, like, only 30% of it is inhabited by humans, and 70% of the everything else is like between desert vegetation and the aforementioned beaches. So yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
Australia.
I
Just
might,
saying.
I might, I might stop by there real quick.
Yeah,
I'm not
Ozzy,
sure. I'm not sure yet.
how many beaches are you gonna try to hit?
5.
There you go. There you go. 5. Booker T likes that.
5 times.
5 times. 5 times. Hell yes. So that's a consensus pick. We got Petrosky on this one. But uh, you know who who really has an invested stake in the next match? Oh,
Who?
y- Patty the Patty, your favorite fighter,
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's right.
Because Aaron Blanchfield,
Patsy the Patsy.
9-1, is fighting uh, Patty Pimblett's best mate, Meatball Molly McCann, right? 13-4. Now let's go with Blanchfield first, right? Cold-blooded Aaron Blanchfield, whose topology picture looks like she's auditioning for American Gladiators or some shit, which
Mm.
I'm not mad at. I love American Gladiators. But anywho, um, she beat Brogan Walker back in Invicta FC, beat Victoria Leandro. Head kick KOs her in Invicta FC 39, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Loses to Tracy Cortez at Invicta FC 34. Beats Kay Hansen, former UFC veteran. Beats Brittany Cloudley, a friend of the According to Woods podcast, right? But her last few fights. I mean, her whole UFC career, she is undefeated. Those wins coming by way of a unanimous decision win over Sarah Alpar, a unanimous decision win over Miranda Fear the Maverick, and
Mhm.
a sending guillotine choke win over the tough, always durable JJ Aldridge, right? As she
Mhm.
faces Meatball Molly. Now, Meatball Molly, um, 13-4. Definitely the little more tenured veteran in this particular matchup here. But Meatball Molly has basically a 3-fight winning streak. Those coming by way of Jin Yon Kim, unanimous decision win there. Spinning back elbow with Luana Carolina. And
Mhm.
then another spinning back elbow against Hannah 24K Goldie.
Go
And
to sleep.
yes, and you I shit me now, right? I shit you not. I actually think that Meatball Molly,
Mhm.
his association with Pride Primblett, of course they were, friends and teammates and everything like that. But look
Mhm.
at her record prior to her interactions in whatever with Patty Pimblett, right?
Mhm.
Unanimous decision loss over Talia Santos, unanimous decision loss over Laura Fritzen, right? Uh, she's kind of all over the place. Now, of course, she had wins also over Ariane Lipsky, Diana Belvita, uh, Priscilla Cachoeira, right? All good wins, but nobody was really fucking, like if you played UFC video game, right?
Mhm.
And you saw Molly McCann on UFC 3, you'd probably
Mhm.
pass by her, and pick another fighter, right?
Right. Right.
This particular instance, UFC 4, they actually added Meatball Molly and Patty Pimblett into the game like a year after the game was released. So to me, that's moving the needle. And I think
Yes, it
the
is.
association with Patty Pimblett, hell, their interviews, you can't understand what they're saying, but you see every reporter on press row when they're together fucking flock to them. And that
Mhm.
is star power. So I'm actually going to go with Meatball Molly.
Okay, that sounds good. Meatball Molly sounds like the stronger of the two, the better boxing of the two. Uh, Excellent takedown defense. It's been tried and hasn't quite happened yet. So Meatball Molly McCain sounds good to me too. I see complete fight. I see the fight not finishing ahead of time, finishing right on time, which is 15 minutes.
I like it. Yeah, and I think there's going to be what is that movie? There will be blood. There will be blood in this one. This one, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Blanchfield or Meatball Molly are going to give a quarter. So man, this is I, I I just said it in the last match. I think this is another pick for fight of the night or performance of the night. Something
Agreed.
spectacular is going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised at the result or any one moment happening in this fight being on the UFC B-roll footage, over the course of the next decade. It's got
Agreed.
that kind of principle behind it, at least in my eyes. So we'll see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong, but you can check that out on ESPN Plus because this is still part of the prelim card. We haven't even got to the main card, but as
Not
we
yet.
inch closer, we have Ryan Spann 20-7 going against somebody that you're familiar with, former UFC light heavyweight title contender, the
Mm-hmm.
Dominic Reyes, a former U of MMA cohort of yours, good sir.
That's right. That's right. Dominic Reyes, the nice young man. Uh, he came in. He tore through the amateurs, tore through the professional ranks until he got to John Jones. He didn't lose until he got to John Jones. So it tells you the type of skill he's bringing to the table. But the last time we talked about Dominic, we said that he needs an evolution, of some sort. Uh, do something with those kicks, like throw fuller kicks, kicks to the body, kicks to the legs, or something of that nature, or a kick to the head if possible. But the thing is, uh, he's been working with Glover Teixeira's camp, so I don't know if that style improves his footwork because those guys like to sit down and step forward and suffocate you with pressure, and then they use their hands. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Dominic Reyes because Ryan Span's got great hands, and he won't be trying to take anyone down.
No, you're right on that. That particular tidbit there. It's weird because Dominic Reyes took his brothers into battle with him in Fight Island when he went to go face John Jones for the title. Dominic
Hmm.
Reyes had long since being a propagator of the principles of Cobra Kai over there in Victorville under Joe Daddy Stevenson, um, Ryan Spink, legendary referee and martial artist here in California. So you know, that evolution that you were talking about, yeah, evolution, but like, is it his particular, like, we know what Joe Stevenson kind of provides, right? And,
Hmm.
got him to championship levels. And then Dominic Reyes kind of picking his brothers. Now his brothers all super athletes in, legendary, the Reyes name in Victorville, the high desert
Victorville.
of California. But I mean, don't you think that you would take like fucking like a, I don't know, a Greg Jackson or Henry Hooft, Faraz Sahabi, like one of like a tippy top. If you're gonna leave Joe Daddy Stevenson, you don't go. I mean, yes, your brothers are legendary, but they were legendary in football and basketball and whatever in just Victorville.
Mm.
That's a big fucking fight. So when you speak of evolution, I'm all like, is it his coaching staff? Do you get rid of the brothers? Do you keep one? Do you? I don't. I don't know what that. For me, I don't know what that evolution is. Hopefully, we'll see it on Saturday. But if we don't, I'm going to span. Honestly,
Um, yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I know. I want to. Hometown team all the way. I think very highly of Dom,
Hmm.
the person that he is, just how he carries himself and everything like that. But like, you know, the way that John Jones, going from undefeated, and the way that John Jones so handedly defeated him, it wasn't even close. Not only did it take years of his life in terms of the damage that he took, but the morale of it, and basically facing the defeat in front of his brothers. His brothers had the fucking bird's eye view of this. And look at John Jones. That's a guy who is the runt of the litter to two super athlete brothers, two Super Bowl world champion brothers, right? So of all people, John Jones understands what that is, and you don't have, John Jones's brothers cornering him for fights, right? So the fact
Right.
that Dominic Reyes got his ass kicked by somebody in a very similar life kind of situation in John Jones, who just happens to be arguably one of the greatest martial artists, mixed martial artists of all time, that's got to be demoralizing. And Dominic Reyes hasn't looked the same since. So that's what I'm basing and predicating my pick on. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I don't think there's any one person other than Dominic Reyes himself that would want my prediction to be wrong. Absolutely. But
Mm.
there's a good chance that the guy with the big Superman tattoo, that Ryan Spann, the Superman, gets that win. So I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. You know what? I'll 50-50 with you on
Okay.
this. And in addition, uh, one of us has to pick Dominic. We're bound by a
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
We're bound by a contract.
I'm almost I almost feel like I'm gonna fucking flip, man. Like all the shit that I
Yeah.
said. You know what? I'm fucking going
Hey,
with Dom Reyes. I don't give a
hey,
shit.
Dom is a top 10 fighter
Yes, he is,
in a UFC. Isn't
and
that
has
crazy?
been for almost since the jump. His first couple fights, like he rose to prominence pretty quickly, but he carried a lot of clout
Mm,
behind him. So
yeah.
yeah, man, I like it.
Well, let's
Um,
go Dom. Let's go
let's
Dom. Let's go.
let's go Dom. Let's go Dom. And Micmac says Bell's Beach is awesome. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
how you feel about Bondi? I think that's the big one everybody hears about. Um, so yeah, and Micmac also says Booker T should got screwed at WrestleMania 19. He should have won the title,
Mm.
100%. I agree. Jay says, and still, and if Reyes makes a statement, he gets the loser of the John fight.
From 10th place, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Eh,
Not when there's Chimaev right there in the wings waiting. You know, there's a couple of big names waiting.
yeah,
Those guys will go first before him.
yeah. And Izzy or Alex, we'll definitely get to that. So as we're creeping up the card here, we have a guy that a lot of people were so high on. They thought that he was the future of the division. We
Hmm.
got Hanato Moicano, 16-5-1, going up against another Aussie, a friend of Izzy, Brad Riddell,
Mm.
10-3. But you don't get to 10-3 with just being Israel Adesanya's friend. But Quake,
True.
Brad Riddell, um, he's kind of been on the skids, right? So he came in with a hell of a lot of fire, right? Was under almost he was fighting a 1, 2, 3, 4 fight winning streak coming into the UFC that propelled
Okay.
him to get a roster spot. Then he beats Jeremy Malarkey, unanimous decision, Magomed Mustayev, um, via split decision, and a unanimous decision win over Alex de Silva, and also a unanimous decision win over Drew Dober. But
Good
since
win.
that win against Drew Dober, he hasn't had a win since, losing
Hmm.
to both Rafael Fiziev, that crazy fucking wheel kick that Fiziev
Yeah.
hit. I think it was
Yeah.
like what the second or third ever
Yeah.
hit in UFC, right? And then
Dangerous kick too.
100%. And he pretty much got levitated by Jalen Turner, that mounted guillotine choke, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and he's going up against Renato Moicano. And I previously addressed the fact that a lot of people hailed Moicano as the future of the 155-pound division, almost in the vein of Jose Aldo, the king, the fucking
Hmm.
king. But it's kind of been a start and stop type deal, right? He loses to the aforementioned Jose Aldo, right? Gets KO'd by Aldo, um, then gets KO'd by Korean Zombie, then beats Damir Hasovic, but then loses to Rafael Fizayev. That's a KO. Then he beats Jai Herbert via rear naked choke. Chase Hooper he faces at Fear Grappling 5, but then comes back to the UFC, beats Alexander Hernandez via rear naked choke, but then loses to former UFC champion Rafael Dos Anjos. This is as fucking split as I think it's gonna get. I think Moicano, with the KO losses that he's had,
Hmm.
he's not the same fighter that again, that a lot of people were heralding him for
Hmm.
5 or 6 years ago, right?
It's gonna take him jujitsu to win.
It is,
Otherwise, Riddell's gonna beat him.
but Riddell's in kind of the same spot. He's in a
Yeah.
in a very
Styles
similar.
Styles make fights. Styles makes fights. Renato, his jiu-jitsu is so strong that he's willing to risk the 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 striking. So that's gonna put him in a situation where he has to make a choice.
Yeah, yeah. Which Jay brings an interesting point. Why the fuck would Hamzat get a shot at 205? Because
Hamza, okay.
there,
Hamza is a humongous name.
yeah,
Hamza is proven, tested, battle tested. He's fought at 185. He's fought at 170. If you remember correctly, back in Fight Island,
Red Island, yeah, 10
yeah,
days
he
apart,
fought
two
10
different
days
divisions.
apart in those two divisions. So he's what, currently number 3 in the weight class
Yeah.
of is that 170 or 185 that he's
This one in particular is, I think it's 55.
yeah, so he's good to go.
Yeah,
He's good to go.
yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at it, and Dana White has done crazy things, right? Of course, not to everybody wants to quote the sanctity of the UFC being the
Mm,
premier organization in mixed martial arts, but we've seen Tony signed, we've seen CM Punk signed, and like we've had freak show fights. We've had Brock Lesnar come back looking like fucking Goro from fucking
mm,
Mortal. Was it Mortal Kombat?
yep,
Right, a
yep.
two-armed Goro.
Mm-hmm.
But and then have that win basically taken away from him because he tested positive. We had at the same damn card was DC and Anderson Silva. Again,
Yeah,
crazier
with
shit
that
has
yellow mat.
happened. Yeah, crazier shit has happened. An entire card move, from Nevada to to California for John Jones, right? Um, and this is crazy because Dana White had right around the same time had questioned California State Athletic Commission by sanctioning
Mm,
the Chuck 3 Golden Boy fight card and whatever, but
mm,
also runs through California when in Nevada ain't having this shit either. So
mm,
just saying.
mm,
Um, and book Bobby Knuckles against Chimaev, then we'll talk. I'm not mad at that either,
mm,
honest to goodness. But also, I think Bobby Knuckles' best days are behind him. He was never able to etch out that clear championship run because he got fucked up by Yoel, got fucked up by himself. Then when he comes back, gets fucked up by Izzy. That's why Izzy's the champ now. So
mm,
like yeah, man. It remains to be seen what's going to happen with Bobby Knuckles, but he looked really good in his last fight. So, he's getting his fucking, jiu-jitsu dialed in. So, more power to him, but I'm not mad at the damn Chimaev, Bobby Knuckles or Robert Whitaker
mm.
fight. Fuck yeah, I'm in. Sign me up. Sign me
All
up.
day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Bell's Beach is famous for surfing, and it was on Point Break at the end. Oh, Point Break at end with Keanu Reeves. Never
That's what's
forget.
up.
Never forget. Now speaking of that's what's up. Also in the 155-pound division, we have the 12-2 Claudio Puelles, the Prince of Peru, going up against Dan Hangman Hooker. Now look at this. Claudio he's the Prince of Peru.
Mm,
Who am I to disagree, right? Since coming into the UFC, man, well, first off, he was the winner of UFC Ultimate Fighter Latin America season 3,
mm.
so there's that. Beating Marcel Rojo, a friend of you and I mean, we like Marcel Rojo on
Of
this show,
course.
right?
Of course.
And the
Of
fact
course.
that Claudio beat him for the Ultimate Fighter Latin America crown in season 3, that's saying something to me. But then gets KO'd in his first fight in the UFC, first official fight after winning the Ultimate Fighter against Martin Bravo, getting the win. But then he just fucking runs roughshod, knee bars Felipe Silva. uh, unanimous decision over Marcos Mariano. Beats the Monkey King Jordan Levitt via unanimous decision. Beats Chris Gretzmarker via knee bar, and then knee bars the shit out of the fucking Carpenter Clay Guida. But he's stepping in
Mm-hmm.
there with a different breed. 21-12, Dan the Hangman Hooker, who let's just say Hangman has seen better days, right? Because he looked dominant in these 3 wins, between James Vick, Al Iaquinta, and Paul Felder, right? Looked fucking unstoppable. But before that, that was a loss to Edson Barbosa, but beat Jim Miller, Gilbert Burns before it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been in there with some of the sports and the division's elite. But then when he gets to the tippy top, he gets Dustin Poirier, right? Unanimous decision win for Poirier. And then he welcomes Michael Chandler into the UFC and gets KO'd for his troubles by Iron Mike Chandler, former Bellator world champion. Then he goes up against Nasrat Hapscrost,
Mm-hmm.
and he wins a unanimous decision. But then uh, faces the now champion Islam Makhachev, who beat him via Kimura, right? And then Arnold Allen, all in Allen, beat him by TKO. I'm going with the fucking Prince of Peru on this one. Honest to goodness. I I don't know, man. There's been a lot of there's a lot of miles I got taken off
Dan
of
Man,
Hooker. Yeah,
Hangman. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with, and I'm a Dan Hooker fan. Like
And
I just love the fucking damn Hooker. Yeah, hell
mm,
yes.
your choice is extremely perfect and understandable, but Dan Hooker is so dangerous at
Yeah,
any
he
point in
is.
the game. I think I see him sneaking one in on this Claudio fella. Claudio's gonna run into the wrong end of the knuckle and put himself to sleep.
I mean, you know what? I'm not mad at you there. McMac was talking about a red wave, but there's a city kickboxing wave of momentum that could happen because before Dan Hooker's fight, there's going to be a few city kickboxing contingents and teammates going up,
Mm,
and if they win their respective fights, the momentum builds, and it could carry it over to Hangman and maybe eventually to Israel Adesanya, the champ.
mm,
Not that he needs it, because in the words of CM Punk, when he gets interviewed by Joe Rogan, when he comes into the promotion, luck is
mhm,
for losers, right? So
mhm, mhm,
that served him well.
mhm,
So,
mhm.
but yeah, so I hope I'm wrong. I'm a big Dan Hooker fan, but I'm
I'll
still
pick
gonna
Dan. I'll pick
yeah.
Dan. I'll pick Dan.
All right,
Dan
I like it.
Dan has put himself on the line many times, so
Yeah, he is.
we'll go 50-50.
All right, I like it. Now, one thing that isn't 50-50 is this main card. Well, I mean, it's the second fight on the main card. We have 18 and Chris Gutierrez, who's 18, 3-2, is El Guapo, and he's facing a living fucking legend. That we can't 50-50 on that. This is Frankie Edgar is a literal legend of the sport. One of the greatest who ever do it. But he's been on kind of hard times here, right?
Hmm.
But let's go with Chris Gutierrez. He's earned this like with a legend, right? Uh, literally, um, he loses to Ronnie Barcelos on the Ultimate Fighter 28 finale card, right? But then he goes and beats Ryan McDonald, Geraldo de Freitas, Vince Morales, um, all he finishes Morales, but decision wins a split one with Dorado and a unanimous decision for with Ryan McDonald. He has a draw with Cody Durden, but beats Andre Ewell via unanimous decision. Felipe Colares split decision win, and then Dana Bat Rigel, hits a spinning back fist and
Mm.
TKOs him with elbows, right?
99.
Hell yes. Now, Frankie Edgar, 24 10 and 1, former UFC featherweight champion, one of the greatest of all time. But he's 41 years old. And honestly, the last two fights, Corey Sanhagen, where he gets flying knee, and then Marlon Chito Vera, right? Those two
Mm-hmm.
fights basically made him a meme. You know, the fucking crazy ass face on everybody's body and whatever. That shit ain't kind, man. The internet is
Yeah.
ruthless.
Hey,
Um,
man. It is what it is. No man's
it
land.
it is, and I think for the first and final time, we will see the answer in the UFC octagon. And I got El Guapo on this one, right? I hope it's not. I hope it's not vicious, as vicious as a KOs as both Sanhagen and Chito Vera administered to Frankie. But I will say, hopefully, it's decisive enough that Frankie figures it out that the buck stops here. This is the
Mm-hmm.
end of my legendary career and hangs him up. I think this is going to be Frankie Edgar's retirement fight, and Chris Gutierrez is going to be the man who he's going to be the Brock Lesnar to Taker. He's going to take Taker's win away. So, and if you didn't get
Mm-hmm.
the analogy, Frankie Edgar's Taker, not quite, but in my head it all relates. But I again, I got Chris Gutierrez and a Frankie Edgar retirement.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say to Frankie Edgar, I want to thank you for all those years of excellent combat. You and BJ Penn doing y'all thing. But this young man Gutierrez, he's no pushover. He's no pushover. Edgar is he's old. The other kid is no pushover. Edgar's old. I'm going with the kid, bro. I'm going with the kid. The kid's gonna do something. The kid's gonna do something and win. I don't know what it is yet, but he's gonna win due to that thing.
Yeah, there you go. And again, hopefully it's a graceful retirement for the answer. Um, but yeah, I think this is a swan song. But
Mm.
you know what is a swan song? Any legitimate fucking critique of this fucky fight from me, because I want
Mm-hmm.
this. To me, Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, it's a mirror match. It just kind of fucking strikes me as odd. Michael Chandler, I was a fan of him in Bellator. I'm still kind of a fan of Chandler, but just there's something that doesn't sit right with me about Chandler. Now, I like when, people from other promotions, because everybody, the hyperbole of
Yes.
UFC being the end all be all to where, mixed martial arts fighters go to fucking create the legend, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so I'm all in when David Branch from World Series of Fight or Marlon Moraes or Justin Gaethje, come in, all champions from World Series of Fight. Then the Bellators, Eddie Alvarez, the Michael Chandlers, and whatever, and claiming their stake in supremacy, in the ranks of the UFC roster and stablemates, right? But I don't want to talk about anybody's like family, but I just when I found out like Michael Chandler and his wife, they adopted two African descent children, and one of them is named Hap, just Hap, HAP. Um, it's weird to me. It's just weird,
Mm-hmm.
and that could just be me. And I'm not trying to whatever, but I feel like there's like I feel like there's some indoctrination that's going on, and of course you're you're raising two Chandlers, but like I almost want to see like a 20-year-old Hap be like Ron Reagan, Ronald Reagan's fucking kid who was like the antithesis of his father. Like I kind of want to see that in Hap and Ace Chandler. That it's the new baby. Um, I don't know. There's something just weird, something weird about it for me. It just doesn't sit right with me. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, so there's that, and then you got Dustin Poirier, right? And this is a guy who you said, oh, you know, I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. Blah blah blah. Whatever the fuck, you know. But instead of chasing the title, he takes two fights with Connor, and then creates. It's like, oh, fucking talks all this shit about Connor and whatever and proper 12, and he's not about the fucking fighter life, but does the fucking hot sauce right after. Like, he starts a foundation after he sees somebody else start a foundation. He fucking has a hot sauce after you know Connor was a proven commodity to leveraging himself to you know a household item. So I think Dustin Poirier's got a bit of imposter syndrome. Connor was right that you know Poirier's wife was in his DMs. And the fact that you again, if you know after the first fight, right, Poirier and Connor, right, Connor said that he was gonna basically, pledge $1 million to the charity. Cool, but here's what you should have done, right? If you're a legit, organization, nonprofit or whatever, what you do is you have the paperwork. When somebody gives a donation, you know, there's going to be some sort of tax windfall or break for
Trace it back.
right, absolutely, right. And the Poiriers, both Dustin and his wife, don't do that. And then Jolie Poirier goes in Connor's DMs going, "Where's the money?" Connor was fucking right, man. You could hate on Connor, but this one, this one, Connor's right. Connor is right about like Habib and all that shit. Like Connor's been right about a lot of fucking things. About the TJ Dillashaw. Remember, TJ's a snake. He's a snake. Telling fucking Faber. And what happened? So I'm just saying, Mystic Mac isn't just his fucking fight style. It's he's been privy to some information. People didn't want to hear it, and that's fine, but you can't deny it. So these two, honestly, fucking double KO. It's,
Double KO.
it's fucking get the spatula, and after they double KO, just fucking like scoop them off the canvas so we can get into the co and main events of the evening, the title fights that people want to fucking see. So that's it. That was it. Fucking double KO for me.
Yeah. The fight has a good story behind it. They don't like each other. This one called this one.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't like either of them.
I will say, Dustin Poirier has beautiful boxing. His boxing is custom made for the octagon. Where Michael Chandler is this freak of nature.
Yeah,
freak of nature lands something unorthodox. It's a good chance you might go to sleep. So Dustin Poirier has to pay attention. But I think Dustin Poirier can pull this one off, retaining his number 4 spot with beautiful boxing.
I hope he gets a lot of fucking headshots from Chandler. I hope he gets. If that's the fucking whatever, like I want Poirier on roller skates or whatever. I want Poirier on roller skates and also Chandler on roller skates. They just CT all damn day. I'm just saying. Just don't either one of them. Just fuck it. Double KO. Double KO is what I want. Big X says someone's got a SMA or SMS. Think it was from Steve. Oh yeah, my phone was going off. Yeah, Steve Kaufman might be calling me or texting me actually. But with that all being said, we are at the co-main events of the evening. We have none other than former UFC strawweight champion Zhang Weili going up against the current reigning and defending UFC strawweight champion, the two-time strawweight champion, the inaugural UFC strawweight champion, the inaugural Invicta FC strawweight champion, Carla Cookie Monster Esparza. So let's go
Mm.
with the former champ here because Magnum Zhang Wei Li has been on a roll to get her crack at a title that many, I think she believes it's her title, right? But she beat Daniel Dynamite Taylor, right, via unanimous decision. Jessica Aguilar via armbar. That was back in 2018. Beats Tiny Tornado, Tisha Torres, Jessica Andrade. Yep, and that Andrade win was the one that got her the title. The first card, I believe it was in China, UFC on ESPN. Yep, was in Shenzhen, and I've got a lot of products in my house from Shenzhen, China. So I'm not going to talk shit about Shenzhen, China, one iota. That's not going to happen here, because my fucking TikTok will go off and sell my information to a government that I don't know of. But in any event, um, beat Joanna Jonjacek right before
Mhm.
the COVID lockdowns happened. We turned Joanna into a fucking Klingon with that hematoma on her head. That was crazy. But then loses
Wow.
to, yeah, you remember that? That shit was
Mhm.
wild. Arguably one of the greatest fights of all time, but definitely up there in terms of the greatest female fight of all time in any combat sport. That's got to be right there. Not Yon Jenchek and Zhang. But after the Joanna win, she loses the title to Rose Namajunas, gets head kick KO'd first round. That
Mm.
was like 90 seconds, right? And then gets the rematch and loses to Thug Rose again via split decision. But then what happens? She rebounds and spinning back fist Joanna Jonjacek.
Nighty night.
Bang bang.
Mm.
To which that was the last time where you still have Joanna Jonjacek that
Yeah.
UFC roster watch instead of this week. Joanna is no longer with the company. They released her from her contract. So, and
Mm.
that's probably because you don't feel bad for Joanna Jonjacek. She's living the best life she can. She's made a shit ton of money, and she's continuing to make a shit ton of money in her ventures in both film and business outside of the UFC. So shout out to Joanna Jonjacek. Look, I don't know if, what's wrong with the UFC Hall of Fame if they don't have Joanna Jonjacek in the next 3 years in the Hall of Fame. You deserve it, Joanna. Shout out to you. But here we've got Zhang Wei Li against Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza wins the title in a not the greatest women's. You go from Zhang Wei Li and Joanna Jonjacek, and then you had Carla Esparza versus Thug Rose, where it was like, when you're practicing your move in a fighting game, right? And
Right.
you press start on the second player, but don't really have anybody playing. That is kind of Carlos Esparza versus Rose Namajunas, and somehow Carlos Esparza got the title, got married with the title. That was
Mhm.
all on the UFC countdown. And
Two time champion.
yeah, and I'm not hating on Carla at all, man.
Not at all.
She's one of the greatest to ever do it. I mean, you don't get to be again. You don't get to be the first twice, and Carla Esparza is the first twice, first inaugural Invicta champion. And when you see the amount of names that have held titles in Invicta, and actually the names that were thwarted in their title efforts in Invicta, and then you see that Carla was the first one. And Carla was the first. I mean, look at the people who have held the Invicta strawweight title after Carla Esparza,
Mm.
and it's the who's who, right? Then you got her winning the Ultimate Fighter and then becoming UFC strawweight champion inaugural. She's talking about Hall of Fame careers. Carla Esparza's in there. If she, depending on what her fight kind of career goes, whatever, when she hangs it up, if she's not in the UFC Hall of Fame within 3 years of her hanging it up, then we got to fucking change the parameters of the UFC Hall of Fame, right? So I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, so you got one of the most entertaining fights of all time in Zhang Wei Li, right? I mean,
Yep.
yes, we're talking about the individual fighters, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
we're really going Zhang Wei Li against
Yep.
Rose Namajunas and uh, uh, no, I'm sorry, Zhang Weili against Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Carlos Esparza against Rose Namajunas. And if
That's
you do
beautiful.
that too, I see Zhang Weili regaining her title and sending Carlos Esparza back
Mm.
to Irvine. And
Okay.
I hate that I'm saying that, like shout out to Team Oyama, shout out to everybody there, shout out to Carlos Esparza. But I think just in terms of ferociousness,
Mm.
Carlos Esparza is turning, coming into her ferocity. Zhang Wei Li has fucking lived there her
Mhm.
entire career.
Mhm.
It's one thing to become it, and it's one thing to be it. And Zhang Wei Li is it. Zhang Wei Li, fucking KO. Fourth round KO. What say you?
Well, this one's gonna be a tough one. Wei Lee is not just gonna come in there and just do what she feels like it. Carla Esparza's wrestling is an outlier type tool to have. Even though her striking is not the best, everything her kicking, her striking is not the best, but that wrestling, she knows how to supplement that wrestling with the rest of her skill set, which helped her to get back to where she's at now, which is champion, women's champion. However, Wei Li Zhang has all the tools necessary to nullify Carla's wrestling and use power to overcome Carla and break her with the heavy hands and feet. It's going to be a painful event for Carla. Uh, Wei Li's pain will come from using her fist or her shin to kick Carla.
Yeah, yeah. So, are you going for Carla?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
Wei
oh
Li,
Whaley?
all the way. Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah. It's
consensus pick.
it's it's Wei Li's time, man.
Yeah,
She's been waiting. She's been
Wh-
waiting.
which is a strange deal for the strawweight division because like after we kind of run this course because this is in a lot of fights and matches and even in pro wrestling people talk about dream matchups and whatever. This is definitely a dream matchup for
Mhm.
sure, right? One of
Mhm.
the best, but once Zhang Weili, if you and I are correct, when she wins, what's that for her?
Mm.
Like, I mean, I would think maybe like a move up in weight class, maybe a run at bantamweight does it. But let's just look just for 1 minute. 1 minute. I want to go into the strawweight rankings, right? So when
Mhm.
you get away from Carla, and Rose Namajunas is number two. Zhang
Mhm.
Weili is three. You've got Andrade. We can run that one back. Amanda Lemos, I don't think is ready. Mariana Rodriguez, not too big of a name. I mean, the only thing, you got Amanda Hebas, you got Tisha Torres in the top 10, Karate Hottie, but Karate Hottie has kind of been in, I mean, she's on a 2-fight losing streak, is Karate Hottie, right?
Yep.
And then outside of that, Vrina Jandaroba, uh, what is it, Angela Hill? Yeah, so it gets kind of weird. So, I mean, the only money fight if Zhang Wei Li, assuming she wins, and I don't want to future book myself, but I'm going to just for a moment. But either you run it back with Andrade, maybe give Amanda Lemos a crack at it, but the money is Zhang Weili against Mackenzie Dern, or even Carlos Esparza against Mackenzie Dern. To be honest with you, those are the two money fights, and what happens after that? will determine if Jessica Andrade or Amanda Lemos or Mariana Rodriguez get their crack, or in the case of Andrade, another shot,
Mm.
because she's the only former champion uh, in the top 15. Really, yeah. So it gets murky. So the state of the strawweight division is going to be, not to say that there aren't exciting fights, but to co-headline a card, or maybe even a headline a pay-per-view card. Um
Significant.
yeah, it's either Carla Esparza again, assuming Carla can get past Zhang Wei Li, you do Mackenzie Dern, or the vice versa, Zhang Wei Li, like Voodoo and I predicted,
Hmm.
you basically Zhang Weili, topples Esparza, and then you do Zhang Weili, Mackenzie Dern. But then that's also weird, because is Mackenzie ready for a title fight? I don't know. She's overcome motherhood to make her way back to the octagon. She's, gone with Jason Perillo over there at Ruka. She's handled her weight, cutting issues. So it still might be a hell of a leap to to go in there and fight for a title at this juncture of her career, but crazier things have happened. So again, but in any event, that's all cannon fodder and what have you, because we never know what happens. We still have to get to the co-main event, and that co-main event, we're picking consensus pick Zhang Weili. Yeah.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. John Wei Lee. Let's
So
roll.
so and when is Voodoo coming out of retirement? Before we get to the main event of the evening, when are you coming out of retirement?
Yeah, I never officially retired, so
Ooh,
the door is open. The
don't
doors
call it a
ajar.
comeback.
I've been here before.
Yes. But we've also been here before. This is familiar territory for us, because we are at the main events of the evening. We have former multiple time glory kickboxing champion Puotan, the 6-1 Alex Piera. Now, don't let that 6-1 fool you, because he is an ardent martial artist, multiple time, multi division, uh, kickboxing champion prior coming into uh, both MMA and UFC specifically, right? Um,
Mhm.
this guy has had, I mean, he's been fighting since 2013. He is a ardent student of the game, but to get his, and the only person to beat Israel Adesanya twice. Now, that happening in Muay Thai, mind you, but Voodoo, you're the one who told
Mhm.
me about Poltan. You're like,
Mhm.
hey, there's this guy waiting in the wings, and he just had his first MMA fight.
Mhm.
Poltan,
Poitin.
you got to check him
Poitin.
out.
He's
You
a
got to check
he's
him
a
out, man.
he's a kickboxing champion.
Yes, and
Some 8 titles.
8 titles in glory, which
Mm.
is the tippy top of kickboxing I mean, in the world, really.
Mhm.
And now, of course, like one championship, because they do kickboxing. You could argue because they're attached to the MMA, side of one and everything like that. But
Mhm.
I mean, who's done it longer and more consistent than Glory? I don't know anybody.
That's true.
So the
They
fact
got the
that,
blueprint.
yeah, and the fact that Piera fucking went to the mountain not once, not twice, not 3 times, 8 fucking times.
Mm.
Jesus Louises.
Mhm.
Um, but and again, the aforementioned, he's the only person to beat Israel Adesanya twice, right? Unanimous decision once, which was a hotly contested unanimous decision. Izzy thought he won, but taking the thinking out of Israel Adesanya, Potan KOs, like flatlines Izzy the next time that they go at it, and that's kind of what sets the stage of what we have here. Now, on the other side of the octagon is the reigning and defending UFC middleweight champion of the world, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. And, you know, I might not like listening to Israel Adesanya talk in an interview. I don't get the references. He's not that dude. I don't know for hanging out or whatever, or he would even find anything that I dig interesting. He's just a different cat, right? But one thing that he absolutely is fucking phenomenal to watch. And yes, we were talking about Pieta, right? And the fact that he beat Izzy twice and the last one so decisively, but Israel after that loss transferred all of his efforts to MMA. Potan still
Okay.
had some still had some steam, right? It still had some grease in the kickboxing realm, right?
Yes.
Um and kind of adapted it late in the game. But he still amassed what he's amassed thus far. Wins over on a flying knee KO over Andreas Michelatis. Uh
Michelate.
yeah. Or what is it? What is it? A Michelada Bukaki, right? Never mind. I should. It's too late. It's even too late for that fucking joke. But yeah, that KO left hook over Tarzan Sean Strickland. A lot of people were saying that was going to be the actually the commentator said whoever wins against Pieta and Strickland, they should get that shot against Izzy, and it was Potan, right? So Potan's a bad motherfucker. Shut my mouth. So I got oh Jesus Christ. Stop Bender. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. This is one of the best UFC pay-per-views of casting doubt in what
Yeah,
I think is true. So I want
I
to see
agree.
your take.
Well, this one, it's a grudge match. It's a grudge match that's been in existence for at least 6 7 years. The first match, most people thought Izzy won. The second match, Izzy was winning, put him on skates, as he would like to say, and the Brazilian judge gave Poitin an 8 count, which allowed him to recover and uh, end up coming up to clip Israel and pretty much knocking him out cold. Now this is the third match. Poitin is the challenger. Izzy is the champion. Izzy seems like he's grown, and it seems like him and his team have the right plan to defeat the assault of the opposition. So the question that I'm going to ask is: will a Brazilian pick the Nigerian? I believe no is the answer. So there's no way I'm picking a Brazilian, even though I'm a huge fan. I'm going for Izzy to win this one all day long. 25 minutes of that ninja shiznit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see that, but I also could see a weird ass fucking Pieta. I don't know what the fuck, like whatever Muay Thai fuckery. Like I honestly believe that there's stuff that Bhutan hasn't shown in terms
Yes.
of his prowess and
Yes.
things that as notable and heralded as his kickboxing career was. There was stuff that he couldn't do within the parameters of kickboxing
Hmm.
that he
Interesting.
can do in the UFC. And when you think about it, he's training with Glover Teixeira, right? As a I mean, Teixeira's a 205er.
Oh, okay.
So he's,
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
so that's to me, he's the exponent. He's the fucking ultimate integer. Is
Mm.
Pieta? Pieta's skills is the ultimate integer. There's stuff that even like uh, it's almost like Potan is Clubber Lang, but Clubber Lang didn't have the championships. He's like a high, valued Clubber Lang, and he's fucking watching and stewing as he sees Israel rise to prominence. He's fucking waiting in the wings, rocking in his fucking chair, and then fucking going out and beating every fucking heavy
Mm,
bag, teardrop bag,
mm,
whatever the fuck. Some shit that, would make Anthony Pettis fucking head spin, you know, like that shit. Half break
mm,
dancer, half fucking
mhm,
Martian,
mhm,
half whatever. Like I
mhm,
feel like Poton's got some of that shit. But
mhm,
that's also what Poton's gonna have to need. You need some fucking top secret shit that's in the same envelope as the fucking nukes. Like you need that shit. You need that shit to be deadly because if you don't, Izzy will beat that fucking ass and show you no
mhm,
fucking mercy. So
mhm.
yeah, man, I
Both
don't.
both both individuals have to be extremely sharp in this matchup
Yeah,
because the margin for error is too small.
too small, but also like as I'm saying that, I don't. I also don't want a Jesus Christ Wonder Boy and Woodley fight
Yes.
either. So like this could either be the fight of the night or just like why did I pay $80 for that damn thing?
Yeah. It's gonna be more like why did I pay $80? Izzy's gonna be skating, man. He's gonna be moving around a lot, sticking and moving. Hopefully it works out that he either knocks him out or hit him with the TKO. But
Yeah, like Teddy Pendergrass.
yeah,
I love
exactly.
TKO. There ain't no love
Exactly.
there. And yeah, like Ric Flair.
Woo!
And yes, and what about Austin Theory suck?
I like that kid.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Getting that money of the bank briefcase off of him, from what I
Hmm.
hear, you gotta lose something to gain something. I think it
Hmm.
was pretty shitty that they you know, look at the storyline, Voodoo, right?
Hmm.
You fucking did you see Monday Night Raw?
No, I didn't.
So, the crowd, you can cash in on any championship,
Hmm.
any cha-
Hmm.
any time you want, right? As long as you got a free, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
United States, the secondary title in the WWE by all intents and purposes, along with the Intercontinental title, right? You can cash in for the highest prize in the land. Seth Rollins comes out and has an open challenge for the U.S. title. And then Theory comes out and tries to cash in. Why the fuck are you going to cash into on a secondary title one, but also primarily a title that was just offered as an open challenge, and you're going to waste your briefcase shot to fucking. It's asinine.
Mm.
It's
Asinine indeed.
so
Asinine indeed.
I don't
Because
know.
hey. All I know is there's gonna be a whole lot of destruction come Saturday night. Madison Square Garden. The pressure is just too high on these two individuals. One is trying to say the other's more pressure than the previous one. Uh, this is home of Ali, Frazier.
Yeah,
Every greatest sports entity has been in Madison Square Garden, and
Bruno Sammartino, Bob
you know what I'm
Backlund, Bret
saying? Come
Hart,
on, man.
Hogan,
Come on. The list goes
Sheik,
on and on and on. Now these guys
Cena.
get to join that ranks. You know,
Yeah,
Poitin he gets the the opportunity to show what he's got in New York, Madison Square Garden. They say the greatest arena on the planet. You know, this is gonna be a beautiful matchup, man, and I'm looking for easy to slice them up and dice them up, man. It's
yeah.
time for that get back. You know what I mean?
I like it. I fucking like it. But think of things that were beautiful. This has been another beautiful edition
Hmm.
of Voodoo in the Woods.
That's
Once
right.
again, uh, shout out to both Alex Ramirez and Mick Mac for their birthdays. Shout out to Fight Life Nation. Man, everybody that who chimed in the chat. This was a
Shaman
treat.
Steve.
Shaman Steve, Mick Mac. We got Joy. I mean Jay. I'm sorry, Jay. Man, we have everybody here. Glad to have you guys here. You guys are amazing. And Voodoo, where
Yo,
can people find you and all the amazing stuff that you do?
man, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, Voodoo Maximus on all handles, Twitter. Man, I even mess with the little birdie, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
man.
let's go.
And also, all Voodoo's links are right here in the bio. So
Hmm.
all you got to do is just fucking click. Just click. I made it easy for you. I'm just saying that's all you need to do right down here. But also, there's a link tree while you're down there of stuff that's according to Woods. You'll find a lot of stuff, right? All the social media whatevers, and then also every place that you can find this very podcast. But also another place that you can find this podcast is not just on the According to Woods page, not just on the Voodoo in the Woods pages, but bodyslam.net. So shout out to bodyslam.net for all of the amazing content that they put out, Voodoo in the Woods being one of them. But none of it would happen without you. So thank you all. And we will see you later for the next Voodoo in the Woods. Peace.